Peace of you all. I'm back for another episode on what is in the books of God, which is the truth. And today I will speak about King David, a mysterious figure for the mankind today. They can't prove whether he existed or not, apparently. And it's surprising that it is so hard for them to prove it, since he is clearly mentioned in the existing Bible, and certainly in the Quran he is explained about clearly. He was most likely a prophet. It does not say clearly in the Quran whether he was a messenger or a prophet, but indirectly he is called a prophet. And the Psalms, which is well known to the Christians and the so-called Muslims, is clearly mentioned in the Bible and the Quran as being sent down over David. And I've read the Psalms at least a couple of times in the Bible, and it's generally a beautiful example of how God guides someone, and the words of God which mostly prove what the Quran is saying. When I read the Psalms, it gives me a clear picture of what the Quran actually is saying, and it corroborates most of it. There are some issues with the Psalms. It's just like the rest of the Bible. They've edited some stuff which does not look right and does not sound right at all when you look at it through the lens of the Quran, which is absolute. The Quran is the absolute truth, and most of it is a mystery to mankind, and God guides those who wishes to see the truth of what the Quran is saying. The rest will see it as a jumble of interconnected, non-connected or interspersed verses which do not make any sense. To most of mankind, that's how the Quran looks, and the Bible similarly. Unless you turn to God and submit yourself wholly to the Almighty Creator, He's not going to let you see His words in the way you need to see them to see the truth. You will see them as gibberish, as mumbo jumbo. So, let's look at what are the remnants of King David that are visible today. I mean, there's some stuff that's going on. Let's look at the Google Maps and see where the city is, which is talked about sometimes as the city of David in Jerusalem. Current day Jerusalem is the new buildings and all, and then they call the old Jerusalem as the city of David as well. God only knows whom built it. They say David built it 2,500 years ago. There is no real record of what happened here. So if you look at a couple of examples, there's a tomb of David, like down here to the south of the city. They say King David's tomb is here. I don't know whether it's an actual tomb or not, because I have no knowledge of that. But these are just signs of somebody called David was here. And then you have a Tower of David next to the Jaffa Gate, which is entrance to the old city. There's a Tower of David here. And you can also see pictures of this tower. Like, that's the Tower of David. I believe that's the Tower of David, yeah. If I'm mistaken, sorry, but I believe that is the Tower of David, Kingdom of Jerusalem. So there are remnants in and around the old city that David existed, yeah. So, I mean, just to give an overview of the city, today it's divided into 4 quarters: the so-called Muslim quarter, the Christian quarter, the Jewish quarter, and the Armenian quarter. And generally the 3 different religions live in the 3 quarters, and I think Armenians are generally Christians. I'm not sure about that. I believe that is the case. And then you have this Mount Sinai, which is called Mount of Olives today. I've been talking about this a lot, that this place is the Mount of Mount Sinai, not Mount Olive. And if you zoom out a little bit, it's called At-Tur, yeah? The Mount of Olive they call it. And At-Tur just means the mount. What they don't understand is the Mount of Sinai, the side of which Moses spoke with God the first time. And the valley in between is the Valley of Tuva, the holy Valley of Tuva. And this is the old house of God, the first house of God on earth, which is the butt of contention today between the Jews and the so-called Muslims. The Christians are like standing on the side and watching to see where this ends, and it's going to come soon. And this is the Aqsa Mosque. So this is the old city right here. It has several gates. You've got Damascus Gate, and I mean, lots of people have knowledge of this. So this is called the City of David for some reason, because he was the king and apparently he made it. But there are a couple of clear indications that David, there was somebody called David because he got his tomb there, he got a tower named David. There's the signs, giving people signs that, the guy may have existed actually. I don't need these signs. I know the books clearly speak about a David that exists. And in the Bible, you have a whole book which is called the Psalms, which I've read. And the Proverbs after that is a statement of Solomon, the son of David, the King Solomon, Song of Solomon. There's lots of, the Bible is a hodgepodge of all the things they could find from revelations which came to the sons of Israel, and also what came to Moses, the Torah. The first 5 books of the current Bible are actually the Torah, whatever they've preserved of it or have found or agreed upon. And then you have all these other prophets and books that have come to the prophets between Moses and Jesus, and also Jesus, the Gospels of Jesus, the 4 Gospels, which Matthew, Mark, Luke, John. And then there's other stuff which is so-called New Testament, because, God made a mistake in the Old Testament. He had to bring a New Testament. I mean, people are just inventing stuff over God without any knowledge, where clearly there's only one God, and He said only one thing to all of us, literally, as far as faith is concerned, in the law which Moses was brought, and he brought to mankind. And Jesus repeated that same law, and these Christians say, oh, the law doesn't apply anymore. And the idiot Muslims say the law of Moses is defunct because the so-called Sharia of Muhammad, which is absolutely non-existent, does not exist in the Quran, is the way to follow, and that law has been abrogated. The law that was brought to Moses, because God, God was evolving and we were becoming better and better human beings, whereas the book says clearly we are becoming worse and worse human beings as time goes on. I mean, the best were the first. From the first were the best. From the last are going to be very few of the best. Most of the best have already come and gone from mankind, and how we lived, our intellects and our subsistence was far greater in the old days, from the beginning of mankind to what it is today. So you can read the Psalms and you'll learn about David there. And I'm going to go now look into the Quran and see what the Quran says about the story of David. So it starts in chapter 2, and let's see, verse 246. Okay, so this is the story where it begins, telling us what happened after Moses and how David became king. Yeah. So the Quran tells us, don't you look to the chiefs from sons of Israel from after Moses? Behold, they said to prophet to them, bring out to us a king. We will fight in path of God. So the prophet here, I don't know who he is. I've tried to link him in the Bible. I can't find it. It doesn't matter. It's a prophet there from after Moses. And they're telling him, bring out to us a king. We will fight in path of God. The prophet says, are maybe you, if written over you the fight, surely not you will fight? They said, and what to us, surely not we fight in path of God. and have we been taken out from our homes and our sons? But when written over them the fight, they turned except few from them, and God knowledgeable with the wrongdoers. And said to them their prophets, so the same guy, surely God has brought out to you Talut a king. They said, surely it be to him the kingship over us, and we in truth with the kingship from him, and not he brought amplitude from the wealth. So now understand how you guys think, all mankind thinks. If somebody has wealth, he has power. If somebody does not have the ability, wealth-wise or any other ammunition-wise, force-wise, he cannot have kingship. So, this is God telling you guys, shut the hell up. You don't know how it works. And the prophet responds, surely God chooses him over you and adds him expanse in the knowledge and the body. And God, he brings his kingship any he wishes. And God ample, knowledgeable. So understand, the kingship is not because you have wealth, it's because God gives it to you. And the reason here given is that he's been brought expanse in knowledge and body. So he's been given strength of body and knowledge, which is the knowledge of God. Knowledge from the books, the knowledge and wisdom. So they're pushing the knowledge and expanse of your body, the amplitude of your body far outweighs any wealth that you have. You have to understand, your stupid wealth and trillions of dollars ain't going to help you when you can't get up from your chair, when you're prostrate on your bed and you can't move because you're sick to your stomach. Most of you have gone through that. And said to them their prophet, so this is another statement to the guys, surely a sign of his kingship, that it will come to you the ark, in it calmness from your Lord, and remnant from what left family of Moses and family of Aaron, carrying it the angels. Surely in that to be a sign to you if you be believers. So now understand, the Jewish and Christian, they have this, I don't know how much the Jews know about it, the Christians talk about it, that the ark came and the angels are depicted, with the ark bringing. Now what is this ark? This ark is basically the cradle of Moses that he was put in the river and sent down and picked up by the woman of Moses. So that's what this ark is, and in it is remnants of what left family of Moses and family of Aaron. I don't know what those things are. I mean, I can think maybe the staff of Moses or whatever else that was left, but it was brought down to these guys, the sons of Israel, to confirm to them that Talut has kingship. The prophet is telling them he's the king, God has made him the king, and this is the sign. So now they go to the fight, But when moved Talut with the forces, he said, surely God will test you with river, but any who drinks from it, but not from me. And one, not he feeds of it, but surely he from me, except one who cups a cupping with his hand. So he's telling all of these guys who are going with him to fight that, you're going to be tested by God. There's going to be a river, and any who drinks from that river, he's not going to be from me. So, I'm free of you guys. And any who doesn't feed of it, he's going to be from me, i.e. Talut saying that. And except one who takes a little. So, if you want really dying, take a little cup in your hands and drink, that's okay. But if you drink from it, you're not from me. But they drank from it except a few from them. So this is how these people are. They will not obey anyone except their thoughts, And this is the sons of Israel, which are the highest graced amongst mankind. So when he moved, he and those who believed with him, they said, no power to us the day with Goliath and his forces. So now you understand Goliath in Arabic, it's called Jalut. And Dawood is called, David is called Dawood in Arabic. They will fight over how to call him, what to pronounce him in Arabic, in English, in Spanish, in Portuguese, or whatever else language, French. They will not say, it's the same guy, morons. I mean, he's the same guy. Just accept that. So, and Goliath is Jalut in Arabic and whatever else you want to call him in another language. So these guys who drank said that, we have no power with Goliath and his forces. So said those, they thought surely they will meet God. So now these are the ones who did not drink from the river, obviously. How many from parties few overcame parties many with will of God, and God with the patient. And when they marched to Goliath and his forces, they said, so the same guys who are now the true believers actually, our Lord, spread over us patience and strengthen our feet, and help us over the people, the rejecting. But pushed them away with will of God, and killed David Goliath, and brought him God the kingship and the wisdom, and taught him from what he wished. And if not pushes God the mankind, some of them with others, to be warring the earth, but surely God with grace over the knowing. These signs of God, we read them over you with the truth, and surely you to be from the messengers, telling me, this is to me and every other messenger who is a messenger. It's on one person. وَإِنَّكَ لَمِنَ الْمُرْسَلِينَ. Surely you to be from the messengers. Whoever is the messenger, it was Muhammad, obviously the first one who brought this Quran, and everyone after him who brings it like me, or better, is a messenger of God. So this is the story how God made David king. He killed Goliath. The story is clear in all the books, So let's go to the next place where this is talked about. Something is said about David. Verse 163. Surely we inspire to you like what we inspired to Noah and the prophets from after him. And we inspired to Abraham and Ishmael and Isaac and Jacob and the tribes and Jesus and Job and Jonah and Aaron and Solomon. And we brought David psalms. So this is the confirmation. The psalms came to David. And messengers, have we explained them over you from before? And messengers, not we explained them over you. And spoke God to Moses, speaking. So now here you can kind of say he could have been a prophet, he could have been a messenger. Both are mentioned and he's spoken about in both these verses. So I'm not going to tell you whether he was a prophet or a messenger or both. He could have been either or both. There's no clear direct explanation of that in the Quran. So now these are the sons of Israel who rejected David and Jesus. Cursed those who rejected from sons of Israel over tongues of David and Jesus son of Mary. That with what they disobeyed, and they transgressing. They were, not they stopping over weirdness, they did it. To be evil what they were, they doing. You see most from them, they turning to those who reject, to be evil what send forth their souls, send forth to them their souls, that angers God over them, and in the punishment they will live. So that's a little smackdown on the sons of Israel. Not that these so-called Muslims are any better. They will use these verses to malign the sons of Israel and the Christians. And the Jews, i.e., but themselves they are worse because they have the absolute truth in front of them and they refuse to look at it. So the next place is in chapter 17. And your Lord aware with those in the heavens and the earths, and already we graced some of the prophets over others, and we brought David's psalms. That's the grace of God. And David and Solomon, behold, they both judged in the land. Behold, enter in it sheep of the people. And we were to their judgment witnesses. So this is just an example that they were judges over the people, and in this case, some transgression happened between the animals of one people with another, and they just judged between them. So we brought them both Solomon, and both we brought wisdom and knowledge. And we sent with David the mountains, they surely glorified, and the birds, and we were doers. And we taught him manufacturing of clothes to you, to your protection from your wars. But are you thankful? So this points to all the armor that these people have been making, the iron armor in the old Christian war, and their body armors that they wear, and they had those jousting matches. They wear that armor. This was fundamentally made by David, designed by David, and then they've been using it since then, and now we use that same metal to protect us in our tanks, etc. So this was the start of knowledge of how this has become, and what it has become from David, in this line at least, from him to us. Before that we don't know. And already we wrote in the Psalms from after the reminder, surely the earth, they will inherit her, my servants the righteous. surely in this to be reaching to people, serving. So, you have to understand when they say the meek will inherit the earth is a bunch of garbage by the so-called Christians. The righteous will inherit the earth. And everybody who comes and says, I am righteous or I'm trying to be righteous, he's maligned as if, a self-righteous bigot. He's racist pig. He calls people bad things and he's warning them they will go to hell, which doesn't exist, and then warning him about not disobeying him, otherwise you will go to hell. Well, every messenger that comes is sent with the same purpose, to warn the people, to deliver the message of God, warn and inform the people. And those who disobey the guy will go to hell, which most people think doesn't exist. It's a construct to keep us away from enjoying life. What a joke. We live amongst jokers in this world. Thugs and thieves and vandals and murderers. Let's look at this other place. So, and already we brought David and Solomon knowledge. And they both said, the praise to God, the one who graced us overmost from his servants, the believing. So, when you look at this, you have to understand that both of them have been blessed with knowledge and wisdom. And they were graced over most of his servants, the believing. So, the believing servants of God are the best servants, obviously, and they've been graced above them, both David and Solomon. And inherited Solomon David. And he said, O you the mankind, we taught speech of the birds, and we brought from everything. Surely this to be it, the grace, the clear. So we've been graced, and they've been graced clearly. I mean, they could speak to the birds. I mean, you have to understand, this is not a metaphor. It's not like they could chirp to the birds. They could understand the speech of birds. Yeah. And Solomon I've spoken about, could speak to ants as well. Birds, ants, literally anything that is a living animal, bird. He could probably talk to all of them, yeah. So let's go to another spot where David is spoken about. And already we brought David from us grace. O mountains, turn to me with him and the birds, and we soften to him the iron, that make coats and measure in the rings, and do righteousness. Surely I with what you do watch. So again, this is an explanation of David was given ability to mold iron and make coats of armor, all that stuff, to tell you that, that's where you got this knowledge from in the past, and then you've built upon all of that. And this is one last place where there's an interesting encounter that takes place between David and some people. Wait over what they say, and remember our servant David with the strength. Surely he turned. Surely we sent the mountains with him. They surely glorified with the evenings and the risings. And the birds gathered, all to him turners. And we strengthened his kingdom, and we brought him from the wisdom and distinguishing the addressing. And has come to you news of the disputers. Behold, they came over the chamber. So now God has told us that he's given all of this to David, all this blessings. The mountains used to glorify God with him, and the birds all together turned to God because God told them to do it, and they would turn to him, to God with David, and they would sing the psalms and whatever else he sang. Has come to you news of the disputers. Behold, they came over the chamber. Behold, they entered over David, but feared from them. They said, so now they've come into his chamber, and he's like a bit fearful of them. What's going on? They said, don't you fear. Two disputers transgressed one of us over other, but judge between us with the truth, and don't you be false, and guide us to even the highway. So they have come in here, these two guys, and they're telling David to judge between them. And of course, God has told you he's brought him judgment, wisdom, distinguishing the addressing, and all that. So let's see what happens. Surely this my brother, to him 99 ewes, and to me ewe one. But he says, I will take care of her, and mighty with me in the addressing. So the guy, whoever is the one who thinks he's being wrong, says that my brother has got 99 of these ewes, sheep, whatever you want to call them, and I've only got one, and he tells me I will take care of her, and he's mighty with me in the addressing. So he's being mighty over me, the way he talks to me. David said, already wronged you with asking your ewe to his ewes, and surely many from the mixers to their transgressing, some of them over others, except those who believe and do the righteousness, and few were they. So now David judges that, he's wronged you, people mix stuff up and they take away and they're wrong, they transgress, and some of them over others, because that's what people do. They take stuff and they usurp people's stuff in mankind. That's how it normally works. So he's judged that, pretty much he's wronged you. And of course, he's also said he's talking to me mightily, arrogantly, whatever you want to call that as well. And thought David, surely what we tried him, but asked forgiveness of his Lord, and fell bowing and turning. So we forgave to him that, and surely to him with us to be closeness and good abode. So now, you have to understand, David thought about this, and he figured out that he'd wronged, and he fell asking forgiveness of God, of his Lord, and fell bowing and turning. So now, why has he wronged here? Most people say, this is the right thing, he's being mighty, he's taking his ewe. No, you have to understand, everybody doesn't work like that. The brother who has 99 is telling his brother, that give me your ewe, I will take care of her. And his intent was obviously not to take it, because otherwise this judgment would be right. Now he's got 99, now there are 100. So say 12 of his ewes die. If he was an unrighteous guy, he would say to his brother, oh, your ewe is dead, I'm good to go. Now I have 89 or whatever, 100 minus 12, 88. I've got 88 and you've got nothing. But he would not do that. He would keep his one ewe until he had probably 2 left. That's why this judgment was wrong. Think about it. O David, surely we make you caliph in the earth. But judge between the mankind with the truth, and don't you follow the thought, but it will make you astray over path of God. Surely those they astray over path of God, to them punishment severe with what they forget day of the account. So this guy did not forget any day of the account. He was going to help his brother by keeping his ewe alive till he had any ewes left. And David could not understand that, because normally mankind works reverse to that. So David used his normal knowledge and not asking questions. He didn't ask questions. He just heard this and judged, you've been wronged. So David is being told, now don't judge except with the truth. Judge with the truth. Don't judge with your thoughts. Most of mankind will judge with their thoughts. So his thought was not evil. He wasn't being evil, but he was misjudging. Because mostly what mankind does is he screws over his brother. That's how it works, We are great at doing that. Nobody writes the other. You're here to take advantage of the next guy. That's what most of mankind does today. And you have to understand that's not how it works. The reality is much different if you want to be truthful and righteous. Nobody wants righteousness. People want power and wealth today. Most of you all, not all of you, but obviously most of you want power and wealth and fame and fortune and beauty and life perpetual. That's not happening here. That's not going to save you, by the way. And not we created the heaven and the earth and what between them both wrongly. That thought of those who reject. But woe to those who reject from the fire. Or we make those who believe and do the righteousness like the warring in the earth. Or we make the pious like the wicked. A book we send it down to you, blessed, to your surely pondering its signs, and to their remembering those with the sense. And we send to David Solomon, blessed the servant, surely he turned. So I've read this in the King Solomon episode. So here's the story of David in the Quran for those who are interested. And it's pretty clear that he existed and he was the king of the Jews, they call him, the king of the Jews, king of the sons of Israel when he was there. And he killed Goliath. He was given kingship. God taught him all this stuff about the birds, how to converse with them, and also turn the mountains with him to glorify God with the mornings and the evenings. And the Psalms, if you read the Psalms in the Bible, which exists today, it really, to the believer, it shows a way that is showing you the might of God, actually, I would say. The absolute might of God, that He is the total control on everything. He has absolute total control on everything, and nothing escapes His power, His capturing. So, that's David for you. And whoever wants to read more about it, they can go read the Bible as well as the Quran and figure it out for themselves. This is what it says. So with that, I'll end this session, and I'll see you next time with another aspect on the truth is in the books of God. So till then, peace.